Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the haunted attraction and entertainment community. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And we return to you with a late episode.
Yes.
Monday, our normal release day, was Halloween night, also the third and final night of our season. Mm-hmm. And we had not been able to record the Sunday before. We just had too much going on. I think that's pretty predictable and understandable. So we actually put it to a vote on our Facebook. Mm-hmm. We asked you all if you would prefer us to do a Redux episode and come back on the regular Monday side then and come back Monday with everything, or if we should just wait a day. And it was overwhelming. Was not close. In fact, I don't think there was anyone saying Redux episode. Everyone said wait, so we have decided to wait and do an episode on a Tuesday for the first time in our 361 episode history.
Yeah.
To talk about our 2022 season, and also to talk at least briefly about Rise Haunted House. Mm-hmm. Because this was not our typical, well, first things first, if you want to get in on future votes like that, you got to follow us at all the places that we exist. We're at hauntweekly.com, Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook, youtube.com/Haunt Weekly is the YouTube channel, and you can also find us wherever you get podcasts from. But heavy focus these days is on the Facebook pages. That's where things like that seem to happen. So facebook.com/Haunt Weekly, like us there, stay on top of what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. This was not a normal year.
No.
Nothing about this year was normal. Longtime listeners of this podcast might not remember a year we were open.
That's very true, because we have not been open since 2018.
Yeah. 2019 was incredibly frustrating. Mm-hmm. We had road construction.
Yeah.
We had no road. We were open. We were supposed to be open for 3 nights that season. The road was no condition. It was torn up. It was unsafe. We couldn't do it. We didn't open. Mm-hmm. And a lot of frustration with the city and the communication and just the timing of everything that never should have happened. Right. Especially if they followed the schedule they had set originally. It never should have happened. 2020 and 2021, I think, are pretty obvious why we closed. It was also a little frustrating there that local and state ordinances really let, business haunts open. Mm-hmm. And operate relatively normally. But private events, home haunts, things like that, like what we do, were pretty much verboten.
Yeah, well, and we also didn't feel comfortable doing that.
And then that's just it. I don't think we would have done it anyway.
Right.
But it would have been nice to have it be our choice.
Yeah, especially since everybody else had the choice.
Yeah, everyone else had the choice. And if they made the bad choice, they made a bad choice, and I know some of them did. Yeah, I'm sympathetic to the difficulties of keeping a haunt going and the difficulty of funding a haunt that isn't open and isn't selling tickets. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was rough watching our local haunt industry basically become a super spreader event for COVID-19 and make things worse for a lot of people. But this year, we were back.
Yes.
Finally. And one of the great things about it is our haunt was largely done in 2019 rather. We had this build, largely done by 2019. So we had to cancel 2019 pretty late.
Right.
It was like late September. And by that point, we'd done a lot of builds. In fact, we had actually opened it for HauntCon. We were short an item or two when HauntCon came through. Mm-hmm. We were short the second stall in the bathroom. We were short a couple other things. But it was ready in 2019, and early 2020, rather, HauntCon 2020. So this build had been largely finished. What it needed was clean out, finishing, touch-ups, lighting, sound design, and all that. And we were actually able to relax a little bit during the week.
Yeah, it's never happened.
No, never. Probably will never happen again.
Felt very weird to
Yep.
have so little to do so close to opening.
Yeah. The Thursday night before we opened, so we were opening the next night, Friday night.
Yeah.
We actually went to Rise Haunted House.
We did.
And I gotta say, I'll talk about this briefly, and maybe we'll talk about it more next week.
Mm-hmm.
But we really did enjoy the trip to Rise. The big takeaway I had from Rise is, since we were last there in 2019. We didn't go 2020, 2021. The big change I noticed is the quality in the acting, especially in the big house, has really leapt up.
Yeah, and it's an interesting situation they have there because Risewell, the touch attraction that's on site, is filled with the most interactive actors.
Yeah.
And this causes the ones from the big house to put in extra work to try to make it onto that team. That's
like everybody wants to be on that team. It's the tight-knit elite team. It's like the SEAL Team 6 of haunt actors type thing, you know? It's the SEAL team. They all want to be there.
Yeah.
And to flip it around, you have those actors helping to train the newbies.
Yeah.
So you have this, like, it's almost like having a magnet school for actors.
Yeah.
You have this place where actors come, you know, where they want to be the elite, and then they can train other actors that are showing up with the same aspirations. You're just hoovering up the best, some of the best talent, I think, and also passing along some of the best skills. So we enjoyed the big house a lot. It was a fun walkthrough. I didn't detect too much changed physically, but once again, as what we saw in the 13th Gate, changing the acting and how rooms work and operate, you don't have to do a tear out of a room to make it feel very different.
Yeah, it felt very different to me because there was a whole section.
Yeah, there were sections there that were completely new to us.
Yeah, where there were actors on top of things, which was a lot of fun because I do like messing with verticality in haunts.
Yeah, verticality is great to mess with, and then like I said, I did enjoy that too. And you're right, that was unique. I really hope some of those actors never make a misstep.
Yeah.
Because some of them, at least it appears they are not harnessed in.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, the big house was great. Risewell Asylum, good as always.
Very much changed this year. If you've been in past years, they changed it up some this year with
they changed. They didn't change a lot with the rooms, but the story and what they did. Once again, it's such a heavy interaction haunt that most of the change is going to come from the actors. It's very much an actor-driven haunt.
Yes, it is.
I love you. You okay? Yeah, we're both really, really tired here. But I think the hayride was probably the only modest disappointment we had.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out why.
Maybe it's just that we haven't been to enough hayrides to be able to compare this one.
Yeah, I think
to
that's part of it.
anything else. Because the only other hayride we've been on is literally pulling a hay trailer over bumpy ass roads through,
No, we've been to a couple hayrides, but they were all like that.
Yeah, exactly. They were tiny. They were tiny with actors jumping out of places and not these big theatrical builds, which Rise is trying to do.
Well, I think one of the issues that I noticed was that some of the actors in particular were acting as if they were in the haunted house. They were acting up close.
Yeah.
And, you're doing something very different when you're trying to scare and interact from 20, 30 feet away.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was quite coming across in some of it.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got to have bigger movements, more booming voice so that you can be heard and be intimidating from a distance.
Yeah. It is rough. It is difficult doing that kind of acting. And I have incredible respect for anyone that can do it.
Yes.
So yeah, I really did. I mean, yeah, the hayride was the only thing that, and the disappointment is very mild in that I still had a good time. I still had a lot of fun. I want to be clear. But it's like that did not hold up to the other two. And part of that is because the other two were so good.
That is very true.
I mean, you take that and put it just about anywhere else, it would probably be a pretty good attraction.
Yeah.
Oh, no, actually, I know it'd be a good attraction. It's just now it's coming like we've done the Big House, we've done Risewell, and now we're doing the Hayride.
Yeah, I think I would do it in reverse order. Risewell, Big House.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Hayride, Big House, Risewell, in that order, to go from like a little amped to very amped.
Yeah. Yeah, and you'd also be going kind of up the scale of interactivity, and
Exactly.
because you'd be starting with actors not really getting very close to you at all,
Yeah.
to actors at normal haunt distances, and then actors right in your goddamn face and playing with your hair and brushing up against you deliberately and
Pushing you against walls.
yeah, basically, that type of stuff. So that'd be how I would recommend doing it. I agree with that, and I think we did it in the wrong order.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, Friday, opening day. Let's take it one day at a time. I do have
So, go ahead.
I do have the numbers here, but we're not going to go over numbers.
No.
I'll just say to start with, our season this year, we had fewer visitors by head count than we had previously. We had just shy of 500.
Mm-hmm.
And we had done much, much higher previously. But an interesting twist is we had much higher donations.
Yeah.
And the love we got was much, much higher.
Yeah. Yeah, that blew me away. I was really happy to see that. Not that we need it, because we're in this weird situation where,
we're doing pretty well money-wise.
Yeah. But it gives people feeling of ownership over helping us continue.
And the thing about the donation is, like a lot of years in the past, we've basically needed them to survive.
Yeah.
After haunt season. Really, we did. We were in pretty dire straits. We would max out credit cards. We would do all this stuff. We would basically go as far into debt as we could. And the donations made us able to eat and able to feed our actors.
Yeah.
Basically is what it did. This year, that's not the case at all. We have money. We're okay.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really need them, like you said. But here's the thing. I know this from working front of house. If we didn't have an easy way to accept donations, people are going to be shoving them on me all night long.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just how it goes.
Yeah. That's why we built the donation box to begin with.
It was more to take the burden off of me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and we experienced a decline in actors this year.
Yeah.
So we had 4 new people. One was kind of new. She did the run for HauntCon, but not really an acting role before.
Yeah.
But and you say 3 new, that's great, because we only lost 1 to growing up and getting a life. But they weren't able to work all 3 nights.
Yeah.
So we had them spread out.
Yeah, over the nights we
were open.
Little frustrated with one person, no names will be mentioned, that we thought was going to be there all 3 nights.
Yeah.
And then at the last minute powdered out of 2 of them. They were still very good.
Yeah.
They were still very great. We're grateful to have them. They worked a tough spot. They did good work.
Yeah.
So I'm still very happy about it, but we really kind of banked on them, doing what they said they would do.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucked. But I do understand life happens, and I'm not going to be a jerk about it or anything like that.
Right.
But we did get 2 new actors. One new actor did work all 3 nights and was just freaking amazing. Mm-hmm. This kid, and I call him a kid because he's easily the youngest person we have.
Yeah.
Really.
We actually had 2 that worked all 3 nights. Rory also.
Oh yeah. I forget about Rory.
Just because we've met them.
Yeah, so many
several times.
And they're part of a relationship that we've been friends with for
years.
Decades
They've been
now.
part of the haunt for years.
Yeah, that group has been part of the haunt for years. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they're part of another triad.
Yeah, but I understand why you forget that Rory is also new.
Well, and yeah, they are, and my brain is like, we had the Farrell family, we had our family, and then new people.
Yeah,
that's how my brain is. Because that's how my brain organizes, like, social groups in general.
Yeah.
But anyways, Rory was new too, and Rory was there all 3 nights and did quite well too. Mm-hmm. I completely forgot that they were new, but yeah, mm-hmm. we had the first, 2 actors there right at the very beginning, both very new. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we were a little bit low on actors, but we still had every single room with a human scare.
Yeah.
Which I think is important.
Yeah, we had human scares. We had to use props for distractions.
Yeah.
Which is not something we normally have to do.
No. Normally we have human distracts and human startles.
Yeah.
But I'll say this, our prop distractions worked remarkably well. We'll get into this in a minute. There's some real, you can hear the laughter.
Yeah.
There's some real comedy in this.
There is.
So, yeah, let's start out with Friday night, though.
All right.
Because I want to talk about the ugliness Friday. We had a little bit of ugliness. As we were setting up and getting everything ready, I got a push alert of a review.
Oh, yeah.
Left on our haunt 2 days prior. I don't know why I just got the alert.
Yeah.
I don't know why I just got the alert. Maybe it was just so crazy I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could totally be human error. But I just got this alert to a 1-star review that was left on the night we were not open.
Yeah. There's no way this person could have come through.
No.
Yeah.
Not on the night they left the review, definitely.
Yeah.
And not any time 4 years prior to that.
No. So, obviously they were confused or fake.
Yeah.
And they don't seem fake from their other reviews.
No, I think they were confused because they described the haunt as being at the end of a cutoff.
Yeah.
As being looking like a place, serial killers get you.
Yeah.
We're in a very quiet suburban neighborhood. We're on a court. We're in the center of a court where it's not at the end of anything.
Our light display has like 400 lights, 400 feet of lights on it. It's not a dimly lit space where you feel unsafe.
None of the stuff that they talked about in their review applied to us. It was obviously they were talking about either another home haunt or another haunt in general, but they left a 1-star review, tanked our score there, and said that Google should not allow us to be on there.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of a kick in the dick. That really hurt.
It did, and it made it really hard to finish the work to open Friday because it just takes your motivation when you get shit like that thrown at you.
Yeah, it does. It really, really does. And I gotta say, I mentioned it in the crew page, and some people, because a lot of the crew do go through the haunt as visitors too, they helped out. They added a few new reviews and helped me report that one as not being applicable to our haunt, because it clearly is not. Yeah. But it really does sour the mood. We're trying to take care of all these last minute things, because one of the challenges we face every year is that no matter how prepared we are on Thursday, when we open Friday, there's a slew of stuff we can't do any other day.
Yeah.
We can't get the food ready.
No.
We can't get the ice and the drinks.
Yeah, this year we couldn't get the security cameras in place because they weren't here yet. They arrived Friday, luckily before we opened, with plenty of time to set up.
And I want to set aside an episode in the future to talk about the security cameras again, because so much has changed in security cameras.
No kidding.
Especially for this type of haunt. I am blown away, and I'll say this about the security cameras. The first time ever, I know for 100% fact, every inch of that haunt is covered the entire time we were open, just the entire run.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, because previously as well, did it save? Did it not?
There was always this, what happened with it? Did it catch the motion correctly? Them had to be motion activated.
Yeah.
Was the motion detecting right? We had cameras in every room, and we always, tried to get 100% coverage, but I am more certain this year than ever that we have 100% of everything.
Yeah. Me too.
And I think that is so great. And the best part for me is I haven't gone and pulled the footage down yet.
Right.
But all I got to do is yank the SD card out of these things, copy it over to my external drive right there, and we're done.
Yeah.
And then there are some issues and some niggles I have in the new security camera system, and we'll talk about that in another episode. But man, this has advanced so far, and I was so worried because I thought the security system we had previously, which worked well-ish, would just be ready to go.
Yeah.
We're ready to rock. And the system behind it seems to have shut down.
Yeah.
Pretty much completely. And the firmware update that it tries to install on the cameras bricks the cameras.
Yay.
So
that's not what we want.
We're like, and the thing is, like, security is one of the last things we do in a season because we've got to get all the props in place. We got to decide where every actor is going to be. And now we know what we're trying to focus on. We can put cameras in place.
Mm-hmm.
And I had checked. Everything was working on that system a few months ago.
Yeah. That's why it's so frustrating.
Yeah. It was not working when I tried to set it up. And like I said, the update bricked the cameras.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, basically now I've got a crap ton of e-waste sitting in my office.
Yeah.
Not happy about that.
No.
But we'll get rid of it. And these new cameras, I think, yeah. I'm going to get a couple more, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I want to there's more areas I want to cover. We didn't really feel the need to cover them this year. But I want to get the trick-or-treat area. I want to get the true front of house.
Yeah, and if you're wondering why we're talking about buying more, because you're thinking security camera systems are really expensive, these cameras are only $35 a piece.
And you can get as many as you want, it seems.
Yeah.
And as long as
well, anyway, we'll do a full episode about security cameras.
About what we found later. Especially targeted more at home haunts than professional ones. Because if you're a professional haunt, you're going to want a professional solution.
Yep. And you probably have the money for a professional solution.
Yeah. But I was really happy with these cameras, and you were the one that found them.
Yeah.
I was really, really happy. And they're indoor-outdoor, too.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Indoor-outdoor, continuous recording on an SD card.
Best pictures we've ever gotten off of a security camera.
Yeah. I love these cameras.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to using them next year and moving on. In fact, I'm thinking about taking one of them and using it actually for house security.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking about getting one for my brother for his house.
Yeah, I mean, really, these are very good cameras. And for those wondering and want to get the spoiler, it's the Wyze camera, W-Y-Z-E camera, V3. And here's the thing. Halloween Day, they sent me an email saying they just released the Wyze V3 Pro camera.
Yeah. Which
is higher resolution and does a few additional things. It has a spotlight. It's stuff that we didn't need in the haunt. Yeah. So I don't feel like we missed out on anything. But yeah, it's incredible. Mm-hmm. Incredible stuff. But anyways, opening night, we had about 59 people come through. Not very busy, but also that was kind of a good thing. Because we had a lot of new actors. It gave us time to do some coaching, some improvements. Basically to work things through a little bit there.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons we open Friday is A, we try to encourage friends, family, and people that don't want to wait in line to come Friday.
Yeah. B,
it's our chance to shake out bugs, to shake out any issues before opening on the busier nights. Mm-hmm. And to that end, Friday was exactly what we needed. The big problem we had, though, Friday, was one of the scares broke.
Yeah.
In a kind of scary way.
Mm-hmm.
We had a falling grating in the back hallway. Actor climbs basically into the ceiling of our garage.
Yes.
And just shoves the grating down. And we had an old iron grating that we got from who knows where.
Yeah. I probably salvaged that somewhere.
Yeah, almost certainly.
Yeah. But, and we had fixed some of the welds on it because whenever we got it, some of them were not in place.
Yeah.
I will say, all the welds that we put in place with JV Weld are still there.
Yeah, they are.
But one of the originals is not.
One of the vertical bars popped out and went falling onto Ellie on her walk through the haunt.
Yeah.
Gave her a mild bruise, no real damage to speak of. But that meant that scare was getting light use only the rest of that night. And that was wrong. So what we ended up doing was going to Home Depot and getting a piece of fencing that looks really good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had been eyeing it every time we went into the gardening section this season.
Yeah.
I had been eyeing it. And I'm like, I want that. Where can I put that? Because that looks scary because it's got spiky bits on top.
Yeah. And so we just took it. We had to cut off one of the spikes so it hit our stopper.
Yep.
And blammo, it worked well. But once we got that up in place, we realized because the heights were slightly different between the two gratings, this one was hitting the stopper lower down and was eventually going to torque the wood.
Yeah.
So then we cut another piece to support the stopper. And now I'm pretty sure that the stopper is going to last longer than the rest of the garage.
Yeah. That's probably true.
It's very, very sturdy. I don't want to take that out because that is so sturdy.
Mm-hmm.
Not going anywhere. But yeah, that was the only thing that really broke.
Yeah.
That I can think of.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to make other minor adjustments. The bar we had in the bar scene, we did not anticipate the actor kicking it, but Rory, aforementioned Rory, did, and that caused it to move slightly. So we had to concrete screw that into the ground. But that's not really a repair. That's more of an adjustment.
Yeah. That's more of a, we don't want the bar to be kicked out of the wall.
And interfere with the wheelchair accessibility. And we also added some noise to a pop through and little things like that. That was more about making things work more effectively.
Right.
Than it was safety or fixing things or whatever.
Yeah.
That was the only fix. And that's what I was really impressed by because we have a bunch of high impact scares. We have the breakaway wall, which hits into a stopper on the other side. That stopper still works.
Yeah.
Still doing great.
It's been there, and it's been in that position for at least 5 seasons.
Yeah. And it's still holding up. And this was new to this season was the sliding door scare.
Yeah. Holy crap, was that effective. I got to work that spot on Friday and Saturday because I was the most...
physically able?
Well, not just that, but I was also the most visually intimidating person in the haunt. Because I am not a small person.
No. But... yeah, and that held up incredibly well, though.
Yes, it did. It held up incredibly well. I'm looking forward to using it again. Even people who had come through and knew I was there, because we did something brilliant. We put 2 actors into the bathroom scene.
Yeah.
And
well, I was going to do a room by room in just a minute.
Okay, well...
you want to start doing the room by room?
We haven't even talked about what we're doing. We don't have notes this week.
Yeah, we
were too lazy to do notes, so I don't know what you're planning.
Well, okay, let's talk about Halloween real fast, and then we'll do the room by room.
Okay.
Because we talked a little bit about Saturday. Saturday we opened, it was about 190 people came by. I'm sorry, it was 140 people came by.
Yeah.
Good number. Kept us busy. We had 2 rushes, but a long lull between them. And this is something that we noticed was like a theme this year. We'd have a lot of people right at 7 when we opened, and whenever that lull cleared out between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, we would get another lull until past 8:30.
Yeah.
And then a new wave would show up. It's like, and I think what was going on was that families with kids, or families that were going elsewhere after here, were doing so, or just getting there as early as they could.
Yeah.
I mean, Halloween night, we had a family waiting since 6.
Yeah, I know.
And the idea was they were going to wait there, they're going to go through, and they're probably going to go to the trunk or treat or whatever else. And then you have the adults who were hitting us up on the way to something else.
Yeah.
An adult party or a teen party.
Yeah.
So that's when you get the 8:30 to 9 o'clock crowd. And then you get those that are just desperate to beat the 10 p.m. closing time and will rock up at like 9:45. Which, I mean, yeah, we'll be open. We'll take you. But, yeah, we're winding down by that point. Honestly, it may be difficult to get you in. But anyways, yeah, Saturday night was just a solid night. I don't really have many notes on it.
No.
There was nothing. We had a lot of great scares all 3 nights.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it as we do the room by room. But yeah, Halloween night was fairly insane. Had a lot of trick-or-treaters, apparently.
Yeah.
I was very happy with that, hear that, because we have not been getting a lot of trick-or-treaters in recent years. Had a ton this year. Light display was a big hit. We've got some adjustments in how we work that light display, though.
Okay. Because
nobody wanted to go through the walkthrough of that display, really. Very few people did. Excuse me. But basically, it was such a good season in that regard. But yeah, trick-or-treating was good. And the haunt itself, we had, I think, 246 was our total.
I think so, something like that.
But basically, it put us at about 500 between all 3 nights, which is low for us from a head count.
Yeah.
But it also, the donations blew me out of the water.
They did. And, we did not push to do extra, promotion this year. We kind of wanted an easy year back. So we just promoted really small, really local.
Yeah, we gave out about, I think, a quarter of the flyers we previously did. Part of that was because there was no Spirit Halloween nearby.
There was no costume shop at all nearby.
No. There was no Halloween place to go, full stop, on our side of the river, close to us, reaching to the people that we are targeting.
Yeah.
And it was insanely frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah. So we left flyers at local restaurants, local bars, event spaces, gave them out to people who, would take them to school or whatever. But we still only gave away probably 500 to 700 flyers.
Yeah.
We did a small Facebook advertising campaign. I think we spent $50 on it. And I did do my PR blitz.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing that happened on Thursday.
It was
we ended up getting a call from the local Fox news affiliate.
Right.
It was funny. You had gone to lay back down.
Yeah.
Oh, no, this was the Friday we opened, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Friday.
It was Friday we opened. It was opening Friday. I forgot about this. You'd gone to lay back down because we really didn't have much to do at that exact second, and you wanted to rest more. I got a call on my phone. I sent it to voicemail because I turned my outgoing voicemail greeting into information about the haunt. And I've been finding that causes people to stop trying to leave voicemails or harass me or whatever about it. Anyways, we did that. So I sent it to voicemail, and then the voicemail transcript came in and did just good enough of a job to tell me I should listen to the voicemail because it was a reporter from Fox 8. Called the guy back, and I said, look, we open at 7. We're here all day. And he asked if he can come by and shoot some video. He's like, oh, yeah, we'll be here all day. Just let me know what you want to do. And he says, oh, we'll be there in 20.
Yep.
Run around, start picking up the crap we'd left out. It was stuff we were going to clean up as the day went on anyway, but now it went from we're going to clean this up as the day goes on to it needs to be clean in 20 minutes.
Yeah. And I think it was actually Thursday. I think you were right the first time. But, so yeah, we did the interview and they went on their merry way. I always love reporters who think that they've got the shit job of coming out to our house.
Yeah.
Because you could tell they weren't excited to be here.
Initially.
But then they're like, well, why did you start this? And so then we get into the Katrina story and they're like, oh, that's a great story. It's like, yeah, it is. We're lucky to have a good story for why we started when we did.
And then you take them into the haunt and they see what we do.
And they go, oh, wow, this is so great and awesome. It's like, yeah, we don't do little.
No. We don't.
We don't
half measures.
No, and we don't meet the expectations that people set for home haunts.
A little garage haunt, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're 625 square feet.
A little garage haunt.
Yeah. Yeah, we're 625 square feet. 5 rooms, 5 zones, as we call them. Yeah. We're not big, but we put a lot in a very little space, and it seems like people are constantly floored by how it looks and how good it is inside there.
Yeah, and if you came through at Haunt Con, it does look significantly different. I mean, we had YouTubers come through, both to interview us beforehand and then come through opening night to shoot video in there. And it didn't look the same from when they interviewed us to when we opened.
Yeah.
Like, we did a ton of work in those, 3-day span.
And a lot of that work was optional work. Like what we said, the haunt was done, technically, for a long time.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, it was optional work, but it added detail. It added some claustrophobia in place. Put a ceiling in one room. We didn't have one.
Yes, that, so when Ryan Greger came through with HauntCon, He said the bar scene did not feel as claustrophobic because it didn't have the books on the ceiling. And it didn't have a ceiling. Well, there's a ceiling in there now. Tall people know to duck. There, and actually it's at like 6'9" or 7 foot. Nothing's below that level.
Yeah.
You might get like brushed by a page from a book, but
well, it's more of an issue for people to come through with like tall hats on as part of their costume.
Yeah.
And I was working on that outside, saying you might want to hold that in your hands. You know.
Yeah.
That building eats costumes, and that's how it survives.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so yeah, Halloween night. Getting to that. Like I said, it was crazy. It was a lot of fun. We had a good, steady crowd. We had a couple of lulls, which was unusual.
Mm-hmm.
But the lulls did not last. It lasted only a couple of minutes. And one of the reasons I think we had those lulls is because our throughput was incredible.
Yeah.
We were cranking groups through.
We really were.
There was no delay between groups.
No.
Between my timing when the groups are put into the bullpen and ready to go in, and when the other group leaves and then the quick reset on things, they were almost literally one after the other. Mm-hmm. There was very little time no one was not in the haunt.
Yeah.
And that was beautiful.
Yeah, we had one, like, less than 5-minute break to repair. Well, it wasn't even really a repair. It was a stabilization.
Yeah.
On Halloween night.
Yeah, nothing broke.
No.
But something it had been knocked loose by the sliding barn door.
Well, so the thing is I stored a panel inside the stall. Mm-hmm. And if you are a bigger person, like myself or the person who was working at Halloween night, you're going to bump it.
Yeah.
And it's going to move, and it's going to get in the way. And it wasn't as big of a deal for me because I just push it back up, but it was a big deal for the person working Halloween night. So as soon as I got a couple of minutes, I crawled down, went and put a couple of screws into it, secured it into the wall. And then it didn't move.
Yeah, that's why we have the bug out box.
Exactly.
This is the exact reason we have a toolbox that can be quickly toolbox and a screw box. That is exactly why we do what we do. So let's take the haunt that was this year room by room. Okay. Talk about what worked, what didn't work, and then we'll talk about our loose plans for next year, of which we have very little. Yeah. Anyways, the first room, the bar. This is the book bar. You call it the book nook now. We called it the bar previously, but But either way, it's a book or legal book. The law books is the problem. Yeah. But it's a book themed bar. In it is the bartender that is Rory. Uh-huh. And there is a pop through into the last room. Yeah. Operated by Rilla. That did not work. That pop through did not work well Friday night. But after we added more noise to it, it became much more effective Saturday and Monday. Yeah. That was the room you were originally going to work. Yes. Because that's the room you usually work. Yes. Is whatever the first room is.
Yes. I built the room for me.
And I think that's what we're going to go back to, is you in the first room. Not because Rory did a bad job. She actually did very good.
No, not because of that.
No, she did a very, very good job of making that room interesting. Yeah. And she's got a lot of personality that came out in that room. Mm-hmm. But from a management standpoint, we need to be on the opposite sides of that wall. Yeah. That's the only reason.
Yeah, I miss talking to you throughout the night.
And I miss being able just to quickly communicate with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, we have the walkie-talkies.
Are effective, but they're not as fast as, like, hey.
Hey. But yeah. Honestly, that room, I think, from a scare standpoint, was the lightest. Yeah. And that was kind of by design. Yeah. We knew because the problem, we did not have a huge issue of people running out the front. No. And in fact, how many people did we have that yelled surrender and basically were powdering out? At the same time, they were bolting through the haunt. Yeah. Like, we didn't escort that many out of the haunt. We escorted a few, but we didn't escort that many because a lot of people would yell surrender and then everyone would stop and they would just keep running. Yeah. Yeah, or they would be holding everybody together, running through somehow. Yeah, and yelling surrender at the same time. Yeah, this is like some Scooby-Doo level shit here in terms of movement.
Yeah, it was odd.
So that transitioned into the bathroom. The bathroom had two actors in it. Alex, the new kid we were talking about earlier, And first 2 nights it was you, and the last night it was Matt. You two were operating the sliding door scare.
Yes.
And the idea behind that scare is that there's a stall, and it looks like a regular stall, but instead of the door swinging like a door, it's a barn door. It slides to the side, slams into its stop, and suddenly there's a person there.
Yeah.
And what you talked about was the two stalls are almost directly opposite sides of one another. And there's a very clear entrance and exit into the left-hand stall. And that's where Alex was, because that operates the pop through we'll get to in a minute. But Alex was serving as a distract, stomping around in there, reaching his fingers over.
Yeah, over the top, so that the customers coming through knew that there was a person in that stall.
Yeah.
You could see them, you could see movement, you knew there was a person in there.
And that got all eyes
right
to the
there.
left.
The fact that we had bright yellow caution tape with out of order signs all over the stall.
Yeah.
Kind of helped distract too.
Yeah, everything about that was pulling attention to the left when the scare is on the right, and it worked so brilliantly.
It did. It was beautiful.
So simple, so elegant.
Yeah.
So effective.
And that's using someone who is going to be a scare actor in another sequence as a distract for this sequence. Because a lot of times it's hard to find people who just want to be distracts.
Yeah. Here, Alex is pulling double duty. He's doing a distract and a startle. Yeah. Just in 2 different rooms.
Exactly.
And I think that was easily the best scare build we've done in a very long time. And scare design, too.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm very proud of the tactics in that room.
Yeah.
Everything's designed to take your eye to the left, take your ear and your attention to the left, too. Have you focusing over there, and then blam! It all happens to your right.
Yeah. There were so many times that I heard, where did you come from? And how did you get there? And because the noise and the visual are slightly offset.
Which was a worry I had.
Yeah. But it worked really well.
Yeah. It worked, but I've looked at the security camera footage some. That got a lot of really good reactions.
Yeah, even people who are adults and don't know, they don't get scared in haunts. They still jumped.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're going to on that one. That even if you're not, quote unquote, scared, startle is real. Startle is a reaction. And people were startled. I have no doubt about that. And a lot of people, that was the moment they started running.
Yeah, exactly.
If you were going to bolt through the haunt, that was probably the moment it started.
Yeah.
Either that or when Roy brought up that knife.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. She was messing with people. Pretty hardcore. It was pretty good stuff.
Yeah, she had on, for 2 of the nights at least, she did an outline of blood around her face like she had just had a
facelift or something like that.
Transplant. Yeah. And she was asking other people for their faces and wanting them.
Reminds me a little bit of Mumby from Return to Oz.
Yeah.
Except she did dealt with full heads.
Yeah, well, it was also a nod to Pobby.
Yeah, no. Yeah, from Repo. Yeah. So anyways, we're going down. From there, you go into the back hallway, which runs the length of the garage and gets you into the second set of scenes. The only scare in there is the grating in the ceiling we talked about a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Actor up there shoves it down, pushes it down, and they also have some pipes they can kick. Mainly that is kind of though the grating really did get a lot of people.
It did.
Especially taller people.
Yeah. Yeah, basically if parents were being horrible, because I worked this scare Halloween night. No, I was not able to get in the ceiling, but I was able to get close enough.
And you were able to operate everything.
Yeah. Yes. But so if parents were being absolutely horrible or boyfriends or whatever, I would just wait and get the people that were being the horrible ones that were also the tallest ones.
Yeah, and I got to say, the new grating we put up there, new fencing we put up there, is loud as a motherfucker.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really like that scare. I think that's a really, really effective one. And I think we finally honed that gag down.
Yeah, and Kara worked there. She's one of our new actors.
Yeah.
Worked there Friday, and then Leslie Ann on Saturday.
Yep.
And both did great jobs. Kara's got good instincts, good timing.
Yeah, she just jumped. I mean, it's very rare to see someone who's brand new to haunt acting just jump right in and have that good a timing.
Yeah.
Without having to hone it. Like for example, going back to the bathroom stall scare. Even we would have to hone the timing on that.
Yeah.
Because you can't slam it the second you see the feet. You've got to wait for a certain position. And you've got to understand the delay.
Yeah. Because you can see the feet right as they come in.
Yeah.
And you have to hold your nerves and wait for them to get past the first fake stall to the door, to the scare door. And that takes some restraint.
It has to be learned in terms of how long you wait. But no, Kara got up there just instant. Yeah. Instant timing, instant rhythm. Amazing. I don't think I've ever seen someone immediately get it like that. Usually we have to do a few walkthroughs, a few test runs. No, she didn't need any. No pointer. She just went up there and started doing it perfect. Yeah. And I grant that's an easier one to time. But I have seen haunt actors with such terrible timing, even in simple scares. You know what I mean? So I'm still very, very impressed. That takes us into the hotel room. The hotel room is where we were short an actor. We were supposed to have an actor in the bed. Yeah. To help serve as a distract. And Alex operates a breakaway wall, which is basically two giant panels you push in and hit a stopper, the stopper being the bed.
Like giant saloon doors.
Yeah. And he can reach in and pretend like he's grabbing people even though he's a million miles away.
Yeah, but he did. He wanted to go for it. And I'm like, you go for it. Because there's
go as hard as you want, homeboy.
Yep.
Just make sure you can repeat it hundreds of times a night.
Yep.
So, but that ended up working because you put a dummy head in there. What kind of dummy head was it again?
It's a clay sculpting dummy head. It's one of the true-to-life forms that you can build mask on.
Yeah, it is genuinely unsettling to look at.
Yeah, it is.
It really is. Honestly, that head needs to be featured in the haunt even if it's not like that, just because it is genuinely unsettling to look at. But not as genuinely unsettling as our fifth room. Holy shit, the unintended star of the show, everyone. I think we're all replaced in this haunt, and that includes me and Crystal, with Dancing Santa.
Yes.
I shit you not on this one.
So, we learned early enough that we were going to have an actor shortage, and we weren't going to be able to have a person pretend to play with bottles and stuff and be mumbling and shit to be the distract for the exit room.
Yeah.
So I was like, we could buy a Dancing Santa and put him there.
Yeah, and I knew that they were selling them at Walmart for $99.
Yeah.
And we actually bought a Dancing Santa once a long time ago and were not impressed by it. But this time around, we got it. We stripped Santa naked. Mm-hmm. We gave him a lab coat, some pants, and a mask, like a surgeon's mask.
Yeah.
And a surgeon's bandana type thing.
Yeah.
Gave him all that. And we just turned him around. So you're looking at the back of him.
Yeah.
And he's moving. And what we did is we had one of my old phones. I plugged it in to the aux jack. And it just had a looping sound effect of him grunting and clinking bottles.
Yeah.
Like he was mumbling to himself and clinking bottles and experimenting with things. And he's just sitting there boogieing down.
Yeah.
And people wanted none of that.
Nope. They would get past the bed in the hotel and see Santa and not want to move forward.
Yeah.
Now, all night, so that's when the person who was in the bathroom stall has stalked them to this point.
Yeah.
And would motivate them to keep moving.
Yeah. You kind of have to.
Yeah.
I was genuinely surprised.
Yeah, at how effective that was. Yeah.
Because one of the fears we had was we knew there were going to be a problem with runners. There always is. And we're putting Dancing Santa not very far away from the exit. Yeah. He's like 2 or 3 feet to the left of the exit, basically. And we're like, it's not super expensive, but we still don't want anyone crashing into him. What do we do to set up a spacing around him? We didn't need to, it turns out, because nobody wanted any piece of Dancing Santa.
No.
None. Even people that did not react to anything else in that haunt
Yeah.
reacted with unease at Dancing Santa.
Yeah.
I do not understand it for the life of me. It must have been something Uncanny Valley about it, and it was hilarious.
Yeah. It really was.
So that $99 Dancing Santa, the only problem was it was not durable.
Yeah.
It broke, actually, on Halloween night.
Yeah. So its head still moved, so there still was some movement.
There was still movement, and it seemed to, like, try to move, so you would get little jerks here and there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the smooth motion of the Dancing Santa. Santa wasn't getting down no more. He must need hip surgery or something.
Yeah.
So we're going to take him apart at some point, probably December, and see if we can figure out what happened.
Yeah. I also know where the pieces to the old one are.
Yeah.
To see if we can get that one to work.
But damn, Dancing Santa, it was the star of the fucking show. Even Crystal and I can't compete with that.
Yeah. And Rilla was in the last room, and she was on a slab with chains and, talking about how the doctor was supposed to make her pretty and being upset about it, and then the chains come out of metal-filled holes in the boards.
The sound is god-awful.
Yeah.
We did make an improvement to it on Sunday between the day we were closed, where we put little plumbing flanges in it in hopes to help the chains slide smoother and make more noise. It did make more noise.
It did.
But unfortunately, it seemed to have caused problems with some of the resets.
Yeah.
I think we may need, if we're going to do anything like that again, we may need a heavier weight on the back to aid in the reset.
Yeah.
But the thing about that scare was the way it lunges, it's designed to push people out the exit.
Right.
And what would happen is you would see some groups that maybe were not really truly scared of anything in the haunt get to that exit and then get run out.
Yeah.
So it looked like, from my perspective, like pretty much everyone bolted from the haunt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they ended up doing that. Because those last few steps, you were probably moving. I would have moved.
Mm-hmm.
Because here you have an actor that literally went from being 2 feet, 3 feet away from you to right behind you and on a chain that you have no longer know how long it is.
Yeah. Well, and on one kid, the cuff, because it had been there for 3 years, broke. And she actually reached towards him. And the kid saw the thing break and just took off.
Yeah. Our trick-or-treat team has decided that next year they want to hold up numbered signs to radar runners.
Yeah.
And you have to understand something. The exit of the haunt and the trick-or-treat booth, it is on the same exit line, technically. Mm-hmm. But you're talking at least a good 50 to 60 feet there.
At least.
At least. You're talking
I think it's longer than that.
Yeah, you're talking a pretty decent run there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I can run further than that, obviously, but spontaneously running that far is pretty hard. Mm-hmm. So yeah, all in all, I think the season was a success.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly happy with how much we got in donations, not because of the money, but because it shows the love.
Yeah. Yeah, it shows that the community's here for us.
And even though the numbers were down, A, this is our first time back in 4 years. Mm-hmm. B, Halloween was on a fucking Monday.
Yeah.
I really want to know. In fact, we didn't do the question of the week. But, interjection question of the week. How was your season?
Yeah.
We just told you ours. So how was yours?
Yeah.
Yeah, question of the week. We're doing it out of order. We're crazy like that.
No, yeah.
I'm also stupid tired.
It's also October.
But
so.
No, it's
November 1st. God damn it.
Keep up. Keep up with the time. Literally.
Oh.
But man, I mean, I did love having that scare there that flushed people out at the very end with Rilla.
Yeah.
Because that made everyone look like they were running.
Yeah.
And you had me and Farrell running front of house. And Farrell was mainly responsible for, like, street to queue. Mm-hmm. And also sometimes messing with the queue line if there wasn't much going on the street.
Yeah.
But he was doing he developed a really cool backpack. We'll have to take some photos of it, or share some photos of it. Really cool looking backpack. The only problem was, since it was on his back, people were not seeing it. And certainly not responding to it.
Yeah.
So he just went back to a more doctor-style roll, regular doctor-style roll, that we did have the fingered, 3D printed finger glove thing. Mm-hmm. It's been very popular. And that really got a lot of good reactions, actually. For me personally, the biggest change out front was I had solid bamboo canes rather than hollow ones.
Yes.
I pounded the ever-loving shit out of those canes this season.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of them broke. One of them's a little frayed at the end,
Mm-hmm.
and the other looks good as new. I used to go through a dozen canes a season. Easy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why we bought so many.
We bought like 10. And so, I don't know. I may have a lifetime supply of bamboo canes now.
That's good. That's really good. I learned that I am more of a talking character.
Yeah.
I do not like to be where I cannot interact and pick on people.
Which is so weird because it's not the way you are like day to day a lot.
No.
But then again, people's haunt personality often is the inverse of their regular one, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, yeah, I did not know that about myself. Now I do.
Yeah.
And I also know that, I think one of the other takeaways for me is to make sure that we don't build a scare that I can't get into and work in an emergency.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I would end up in bruises.
Well, in our defense, we built that ladder and that system. We built that like 7-8 years ago when we were very different people physically.
We did. And the other side that has the full ladder, we converted to storage because nobody wanted to work that. This is the first year we've had people that wanted to get up in there. And
we gave Kara several options for where she could be.
Yeah.
And that's like, I'm going up, baby.
Yeah. She wants another ceiling gag next year. Perfect.
I mean, honestly, and the thing about it is, like, Kara, it makes sense because she's also probably the shortest actor we had. So, yeah, of course she wants to be up high and look down on people.
Yeah, I don't know. There are several contenders for shortest actor.
Yeah, we'll have to go through and get everyone tight, but
no, we don't.
No, we don't. Not really. But it's so weird because, we have two classifications of people. We have giants and we have short people. And you and I are like the only people that sit somewhere in between on the height scale.
Yeah.
It's very interesting how this haunt shook out physically. And then we didn't cause that. And there was a couple nights there, the entire haunt, other than Alex, was all women.
Yeah, everything but Halloween night.
Yeah.
Halloween night, it was fairly even.
Alex was the only I don't know fully their gender identity, but I believe he identifies as male. And so the only guy in the haunt.
Yeah.
And front of house, it's always been very much a penis brigade.
Yeah.
But, and I don't know why. I honestly don't. But we seem to have a lot more women than men as actors.
Yeah.
And honestly, it works. I mean, it's worked. I think we were more effective at scares this year than any previous year.
Yeah.
I really, really do. In terms of the percentage of people that got scared, I mean, there's always that one tough kid that comes, that wasn't so bad. Well, that's it, or whatever. Yeah, you get a couple of. We did not get many this year. We got like a couple.
We got a
Most people were either running scared or laughing and giggling their way out. And either reaction is perfect to me.
Yeah, just don't be an asshole.
Just don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
That's all we ask. Anyways, that's the basics of it. We have a lot more to go through with this season, I'm sure. That's the general overview. All in all, I think it was a success. The head count wasn't up to where it was, but like I said, after 3 years of closure, plus Halloween being on a Monday, I did not expect to get anywhere near a record. This was honestly about the level I was expecting and kind of hoping for. So next year, gonna be fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, everyone, thank you very much for joining us the past hours. We basically babble and make no sense about our 2022 haunt season. Thank you for putting up with it. I assure you will be less tired and more awake a week from now when we'll be back on our Monday schedule. But in the meantime, if you want more Haunt Weekly, check out hauntweekly.com, Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook, youtube.com/hauntweekly is the YouTube channel. And of course, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts from, we're there. Check us out. So until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And we will see you all next week, hopefully with a little more energy and a little more mental clarity. See you all then.